Black Americans watched Obama deport 3.1 million people and barely made a sound. Now, the same people are screaming like the sky is falling. Stephen A. Smith just put it on the table with no filter, though.
I want to emphasize, you're a Republican, you're a member of the GOP, you're somebody that's focused on the economy. I ain't got no problems with you. You're somebody that wanted our border closed because Biden left the border open. I ain't got no problem with you. As far as I'm concerned, the liberals and Democrats need to shut the hell up on that issue. When Obama deported 3.1 million people, you ain't say anything. You had networks doing features on ICE. Suddenly they the bad guys. They're the scourges of the earth. When you had deported over 3.1 million people when Obama was in office, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear from you. You're a GOP or you're a Republican and you got issues with immigration, I ain't got no problem with you. I might be pro-choice, but you pro-life, that's your prerogative. I ain't got no problem with you. You about safety in the streets? You about prioritizing national security? I ain't got no problem with you. There's plenty of Republicans I listen to and don't mind listening to and don't mind vibing with.
Now, he said it plain. When Obama was moving people out by the millions, the same networks that now call ICE monsters were running soft features on them. Nobody on their side lost their minds. Nobody called it cruel. Nobody demanded the president be investigated. Now, the second enforcement actually starts happening under Trump. It's suddenly a moral crisis. If you ask me, that's not principle. That's political convenience. A black man. And a black man who stayed quiet then but loud now to sit with that contradiction. But silence is the only thing that gets selective.
This is how I know white supremacy is not real. It don't exist. When something like this, Ronald Exons was released from Kentucky Department of Correction custody July 29th after completing the sentence imposed for assaulting Logan Tempton's father and sisters during the 2015 home invasion that left a 6-year-old dead. The case stunned Kentucky after prosecutors said Exantis broke into the Tempton's home December 7th, 2015 and fatally stabbed 6-year-old Logan Tempton while he slept. Logan's father and 2 sisters was also stabbed but survived the attack. A jury later found Exodus not guilty by reason of insanity on murder, on burglary charges guilty, but mentally ill on assault charges involving surviving family members. There is no way this man should have walked out of prison for killing a child. This man should have never walked out of prison. This is what white guilt brings you. This is what happens when you tell people that white supremacy, and we got to withstand white supremacy, and remember what they used to do to black people when all this man should not have walked out of prison alive. I don't care what nobody say. This man should not be walking out of prison like this. He's walking out of prison. He okay. He should not be walking out. This is how I know there is no such thing as white supremacy. Because this had been 50 years ago, he wouldn't be walking out. This had been 60 years ago, he wouldn't be walking out. This had been 70 years ago. This would have never made it to trial. But they tell you, you don't need a firearm in your home. Imagine if this man would have been teaching his children, his wife, how to use a firearm. Not worrying what people are calling white supremacy and white culture. Not worrying about that. But just sitting here saying, I'm going to raise my family the old-fashioned way. That man would have never walked out of that house alive.
So, a 6-year-old boy stabbed to death in his own bed. The man who did it gets ruled insane on a murder charge, does roughly 11 years on the assault charge, and walks free. The family says they got a life sentence while the killer got a soft landing. Jamal's point, it hits different. If the system was truly built to protect one group at all costs, this outcome just doesn't make sense. People keep yelling about invisible forces controlling everything. Yet when a child is butchered in his sleep, the response is measured, delayed, and eventually released. That should bother anybody who claims to care about justice more than narratives. And sometimes the dysfunction doesn't even wait for courtrooms. It shows up in real time.
Get out of my face! Get out of my face! Get out of my face! You walking over here, what you gonna do? You better get out of my face. Put your goddamn hands on my grandkids again, it's gonna be me and you, man. Now, I don't know who the fuck she thinks she is walking up on me. You got me fucked up.
You touch my grandson again, I'll beat your ass.
Pushing my goddamn head. No, get your hands on my head.
If she touch my fucking grandson again, I'll beat her ass. Take me to jail. You heard what the fuck I said, nigga.
You got my face? I am going to get you out my face.
I don't give a fuck what you need. If she touch him again, I'm gonna beat her motherfucking ass.
Sir, I'm trying to get from my face. Please get out my face. I'm still alive, but I'm trying to get to the situation.
If you touch him again, I will fucking kill you. You understand that? If she touch him again, I'm gonna fuck her ass up. You lucky I ain't know that when I walked over there, I would slap the shit out of you. You want to touch somebody, girl. You fucking touch me. I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch. You want to touch me again. Man, fuck that shit. She touched my goddamn friend.
So apparently the story is a kid keeps cutting the line. You know, mother finally says something, who happens to be white. What follows is pure chaos. Grown adults treating a basic request like a declaration of war. Now, I didn't see the interaction personally. I'm just going off of the headline. So I want to admit that. But staff had to physically break it up. This is the part that never makes the systemic conversation. Emotional regulation, impulse control, the ability to hear, wait your turn without escalating. You can blame every institution in America and still have to deal with, what happens in that line. Now, I want you to watch how different communities move when the same rules apply.
The Asian community collectively has never supported the Black community. They have never, ever been an ally to us. Never. Even when they make millions of dollars in our community, setting up shop with their grocery stores or gas stations or whatever they own, primarily restaurants and grocery stores, right? I've never seen them in the neighborhood, like for a neighborhood outing, if there was a rally or a protest, if there was just a neighborhood party or something, a block party, they never participate.
Now, he said it straight. Black communities are not self-sufficient and Asians don't owe, anybody a living. Most Asian businesses open where the culture and the consumers are ready to support hard work and low drama. That's not a slight. That's just how people who build tend to operate, right? The real question isn't why Asians aren't opening shops in certain neighborhoods. It's why so many of those neighborhoods still haven't produced the same level of ownership and consistency. I'm saying you can't demand someone else's success and skip the habits that created it. And yet, the machine still needs the old story to keep running.
Jim Crow is always returning. They keep forgetting to tell you that Jim Crow was an aberration of the Democrat. Like, those were Democrats. They don't want you to remember that. It's amazing to me. Jim Crow's always coming back. You always have to live with the fear that another lynching is right around the corner. You never know. They might just string you up on a tree right in front of your house and ain't nobody gonna do nothing. Mm-hmm. It's amazing, though, because conveniently, the Democrat Party, NAACP, Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, all of them, they're the ones that must always stand between you and annihilation. Lord knows, what would we do without them? How would we survive if we didn't have the NAACP and the Democrat protecting us from the big old boogeyman white man? These men are not leading black people out of Egypt. No. Their power depends upon convincing black people Egypt is everywhere. It's everywhere. They need a permanent pharaoh. They need you out here singing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot till the day you die. They need a permanent wilderness. This is why the black community looks the way it is.
Now, April Chapman just cut straight through it. The racial grievance industry needs black Americans to believe Jim Crow is always one election away from returning. It needs the constant fear so the same political class can keep presenting itself as the only shield. She said they're not leading anybody out of Egypt. They need people convinced that they never left. You know, that line alone should make a lot of people uncomfortable, not because it's cruel, but because it explains why certain conversations never move past 1965. Which brings us to this last piece.
Hey, for the people that say things like, you're paid for, you sold your soul, all that good shit, right? Here's my question. When are y'all gonna start proving people wrong? You know what I'm saying? Because y'all say this shit, but y'all never debunk anything. Y'all just say, oh, you're bought and paid for, you're an agent, you work for such and such. Okay, cool, I get that, but when are y'all gonna debunk anything? I noticed that y'all never debunk shit. Y'all just say, oh, you sold your soul, you a sellout, all the good shit, right? All the good shit that every logical thinking black person hears, right? But my only question to y'all is, when are y'all gonna start debunking shit? Once y'all start doing that, maybe we'll start thinking differently. Hey,
No.
for the people that say things like,
Notice what never happens. People who dislike black voices that break from the expected script almost never bring data. They bring temperature. They also just bring insults. Oh, and the character attacks. What they really bring is a clean counter to the actual point being made. If the argument is weak, it should be easy to dismantle. The fact that so many refuse to even try says more about the argument than the person making it. So we're watching the same cycle with new language, right? One side gets to rewrite history in real time, quiet when it's convenient, outraged when it's useful. A murdered child gets an early exit while the family carries the weight for the rest of their lives. You know, public spaces turn into pressure cookers over the smallest correction. Entire communities get told the problem is always outside of them, and anyone who steps outside the approved lines gets treated like a traitor instead of a person with their own eyes. You know, the cost of that mindset isn't theoretical. It's measured by dead children, broken families, businesses that never open, and a generation that keeps waiting for someone else to fix what only they can build. You don't have to hate anybody to see it. You just have to stop needing the story more than you need the truth. So, we're going to use a word that we've always used. Accountability. No, accountable. Drop the word accountable in the comments as you actually said all the way through this. Now, he hath sold thee, O man, what is good. And what doeth the Lord require of thee? But to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. This is Micah 6 and 8. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.